Hi guys, Nomis here. Welcome back to Northam City for episode number 20. In this episode, we'll be moving over to the oldest part of the city again, named Nomhattan. More specifically, the Midtown district. You might remember this as where I built the large underground central station a while back. I'm gonna be building out a big part of Midtown, which is the largest business district in Northam. And today's episode will be all about elevated metro lines. I've already put some tracks through various parts of Midtown, but there will be more, and in this episode the focus will be on the station designs. The main inspiration for this is just watching videos, images and reading about how the elevated lines of Manhattan used to be, until they got demolished and replaced with underground lines. Well, most of them did. In game I will make a uniform design for the stations around Midtown, which possibly will be seen in other parts of Manhattan as well later on. The first one I create is for a quad-tracked line, and the stations in Midtown will be express stations, meaning both local and express lines will be stopping here. The layout will be two island platforms, making for easy transfers. For a more classical look, I am using a wooden platform network on these stations. You might ask why there are so many elevated lines still in the central part of the city, while compared to Manhattan, which has removed most of theirs. Similarly to New York, the city grew rapidly from being a big industrial hub and port in the 1800s. To solve this, the city built a lot of elevated lines above the streets, starting in the 1880s. A lot of these were planned with extensions in mind, building quad-track sections to allow for local and express services. The elevated lines became an icon of the city, and was a serious feat of engineering at the time, with several stations crossing over each other and connected into double-decker station complexes. However, this created some problems, and people complained about things like lack of sunlight and noise. This led to the decision to replace many of the lines with new underground lines. The first of these opened in the year 1910. While a few elevated lines got demolished in favor of underground lines, this came to a full stop in 1929 when the Great Depression hit, and there wasn't enough money to follow through on these plans. Corruption also played a part in this, which was only revealed later on. While Northam saw new lines being built underground in the 1940s, all plans of replacing the currently standing elevated lines were cancelled in favor of expansion of the whole system. The plans have come up in more recent decades, but by now the elevated lines have become such a big part of Northam's identity that any talk of this meets resistance from the general public. When setting up the entrance and stairs for the station, I want to make the whole thing very interconnected. I set it up so that you can enter any platform from either side of the road. Building the paths on the side of the road and then moving it over after makes this much easier, as I have a better overview. In the platforms I made some gaps to fit the entrance from the stairs. The paths I use are from Klus on the workshop, and using adaptive networks I can activate some red roofs on them, which gives me the style I want. And then using IMT and place some stair step props to make it look like stairs. To get that sharp drop that the stairs have on the path, I'll go into the node and make it a bend node, and then set the offset to 0 meters. For the design of the stations, I tried a lot of different things and ended up using this decorative wall network, which comes with a station asset from Dresden. I think it fits perfectly the aesthetic for this station, which is very classical and a little grandiose, at least compared to many of the elevator stations other places. I made a decorative network out of the red roof props which I've used on other stations, and also used the green pillars and girders to support them on the platform. With this setup I just filled the platforms with a few fitting props like benches, trash cans and transit maps, for example. At the edge of the platforms I set up a fence to provide some security, and then I do my normal detailing of access stairs for railway workers, and the warning sign to not enter or cross the tracks. I also placed a few signal props where they made sense. For the station signs at platform level, I wanted something that sat at the outer walls. I used a PO cube and tried a few different textures, but I ended up at this nice metal plate looking texture, which I then wrote the station name on. So this station is Arkham and 5th Avenue station, named after two streets which intersect around the station. Some of the final details added to a station are all the small signs for wayfinding and general information. Along all the tracks we got the signs which tell you which lines stop here, and also which direction it's heading. Otherwise it's a lot of different wayfinding signs pointing to the exits and which street they lead to, and also how you navigate the station to get to a different platform. And of course also the station name sign at street level entrance, which tells you all the lines stopping at the station, together with the station name, of course. Now when I want another express station on the same line further down the avenue, I just had to copy it with move it and paste it there. There's a few things I need to adjust, but it saves a lot of time when I want to keep the same station design. Some things in node controller doesn't carry over when I copy, and adaptive networks options doesn't carry over, but that is pretty fast to fix. Other than that, it's just about changing the names on the station signs with the PO text tool. The line starts a curve here and heads to what will be the downtown in the future. For a temporary solution, I just built a small loop for the trains to turn around after what is the end stop for the time being, just to have the line functional. In a later episode, the line will be built out in its full length. A detail I wanted to add, which I've seen around New York, are these trusses which sits between the gaps where the tracks split apart, especially around express stations like this. I'm using a bridge truss asset and turning it into PO so I can recolor and adjust it to fit exactly as I want it. The next line I'm building will only be double-tracked, and this will be a continuation of the 4th train. The 4th train is a metro line I started in the first episode of this series, if you have followed along since then. And it goes through large parts of Astoria and also has some stops on the eastern part of Oakland, like for example at Woodhaven Junction. The tracks are quite high up because they cross over other lines going through this area. So for the double track stations on this line, I want to keep the same design as the quad track stations, just at a smaller scale. All of the same roofs, walls, benches and so on, to keep it on a consistent design. These stations were all built at the same time, around the 1880s, when there was a big push for elevated trains to handle traffic in one of the densest areas in the world. After I finished the design for the double-tracked station, I copy and paste it further down the line. And this is where it starts getting more complicated. It crosses over a quad-tracked station. Because of this, the two stations will be built together into a double-decker station complex. So essentially what I need to do is get stairs from both platforms on the quad-tracked station, which sits at a low level, and connect this to a concourse going above the tracks and platforms. This concourse will then lead to stairs which connect directly into the stairs, leading up to the double-tracked stations sitting higher up. Then the whole station complex will be connected properly, and you can transfer between all the different lines without leaving the station or going through turnstiles again. That means I also need to look at where turnstiles are located, and if needed, move them. The way I do this is by creating a gap in the platform roofs on the low level, and then build paths for the stairs going upwards. I'll then move them into place with Move It and then connect it to the paths on the platform. And then I do all the decorating with adaptive networks and IMT. After that, I need to connect it up to the stairs of the platform at higher level. Then finally get in some pillars to support these extra stairs and concourses. Here it gets even more complex, because I'm combining two quad-tracked stations into a double-decker station complex. The method is much the same as the previous station complex, just with a lot more parts to stitch together. way this track curves over parts of the city block, I had to place some pillars manually and stretch them with PO to make it fit. In the middle I have these thick pillars with trusses that almost forms an archway to whichever building will sit here in the future. Here I'm just creating another temporary loop to give the trains a place to turn around. I'm also extending the tracks and connecting them up to the lines over in Oakland and Astoria, so that I can have some trains starting to run here. Anyways, that is it for this episode. I really hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for staying until the end. A like, comment and subscribe would be greatly appreciated. And I also do have a Patreon should you wish to support me over there. I won't have a full cinematic now since the area is a bit empty, but we'll be able to see the stations in action once I build out big parts of the Midtown business district in the next episode. For now I'll just show an overview shot with some trains moving around here through the stations. Anyways, have a great rest of your day and hope to see you in the next one.